Let's talk about exiting a property. So most of these videos that I cover are how to buy properties, how to analyze them, how to actually manage them. But let's actually kind of fast forward to the end of your journey with a property. You're ready to sell it, or you're trying to come up with reasons when you should sell the property. So exiting a property, also known as the exit strategy, this has to do with when is the right time to exit and how to exit successfully. So when I start buying a property, I usually start by having an end goal in mind. Why am I going to buy this property in the first place? What's my end goal? So for example, if it's a fix and flip, I already know that the end goal is going to be sell this property in 3 to 6 months and make a profit on it. So this helps me then determine what that property could potentially be sold for. So I'm already coming up with the end value of the property, how much I'm going to sell it for up front, so that I can work off that number to figure out what my expenses will be, what my profit will be, and what my purchase price needs to be able to achieve my target goal of how much I want to make on that property. Now with rental properties, let's just assume you've been a landlord for a while and you're ready to maybe sell your property. So some reasons you might want to sell this property down the road and exit would be if it's a problem property. This was one of my reasons I got rid of one of my properties. It just was becoming a bad area in my city. A lot of bad activity going on nearby. It kind of used to be a good area, and now that it's becoming a bad area, I didn't feel comfortable managing in the area anymore. And also, I had a problem tenant in the property as well. So I just decided I want to get rid of this property. It's too much of a headache for me. I can always buy another property in another area and we can make this a lot better situation than it currently is. So if you have a problem property that's bugging you and making it a pain to want to be a landlord, it's taking you out of the motivation of wanting to be a landlord and own rental properties, this could be a sign that you need to let go of that property and exit it. Other reasons could be if you're just ready to retire and move on and you want to do other things in life and you don't want to manage rental properties anymore. So it could be a good time to exit properties. If you've got some financial needs, maybe you need the money for some kind of thing going on in your life, whether it's a medical or it's just, again, your next goal in life to buy maybe your dream house. So you need to come up with the funds to cover these different things coming into your life at this current moment. So it might be time to sell that property, to cash out, to get the funds so you have the money on hand to then go on with the next step in your life. Now, some other reasons people exit: divorce, for example. If you got divorced and you guys have to split up properties and sell off properties to settle the divorce, this is an unfortunate situation, but it's a common one, especially since most couples own real estate together. It can get quite messy when it comes time to divorce and have to split properties up. All right, so as far as exiting the property, some quick steps to help you get out of the property successfully. Number one, hire a real estate agent to come do a walkthrough of the property, and they can give a market analysis of the property to let you know what they think it could currently sell for on the market if you list it for sale today. Step two, figure out what the tax implications are going to be. Talk to your accountant. Find out when you sell the property how much you're expected to make on the property and what that's going to look like on a tax perspective, so you can start tax planning ahead of time, what to do with the funds, how to pay your tax bill to the government if you owe a profit. So for example, capital gains taxes, you want to research, since there's long-term and short-term capital gains taxes that have different rates based on if you owned it a long time or a short time. You also want to make sure you're checking into what you're going to do with that money once you sell. So do you have a bank account it's going to go into? Do you have a reinvestment plan? Are you going to put that money into like mutual funds, ETFs, index funds, individual stocks, to keep that money growing and reinvesting it? Or are you going to let it sit in maybe a bank account for a period of time until you find another property to move those funds into and buy your next property? So try to think about financially, what's the goal when you sell? What are you going to do with the money? So these are kind of your first 3 steps. Get a realtor out to get an assessment of what the property is going to be worth. Talk to them about the whole selling process so you can understand the steps involved with getting it sold. Then talk to your accountant and figure out your financial plan of what to do with the funds once you close and you get the check sent to you with, tons of cash now that you come into when you let go of the property. All right, so from there, the other things to think about on the exit strategy, how quickly it could sell. Again, your realtor can provide some information on how the real estate market is. So this can help you further plan, like if you're gonna need to quickly start looking for that next property, or if you're trying to use the money to buy maybe a personal residence or a beach home, maybe you want a vacation home somewhere in another state. This will help you figure out your timeline to figure out how to start planning those next moves. So again, when do I need to actually start looking for my dream house that I'm going to help use some of the money from the sale to help put a down payment on my dream house? So I need to make the timing work so that this one sells correctly at the same time that I'm buying my next property. So again, you can use contingency clauses in your contracts. I'm purchasing this property contingent upon being able to sell this property so that you don't actually get stuck buying the dream house you want to buy unless this other property sells first. That way you don't get stuck if that property doesn't sell and you don't have the money, and then you get in legal trouble with the seller of the other property because you can't go through with the sale of that property and purchase it. So again, this contingency clause will help save you there, letting you say, hey, I can only buy this property if my rental property sells. So you can put down the address of your rental property. Now, once your rental property sells, then you remove that contingency on the purchase contract and you proceed forward with purchasing that property. So again, that all just goes back to figuring out timing. When do I need to list this property for sale in order to make it work smoothly with my next goals of what I'm doing after I sell the property? All right, so keep those tips in mind. What are we gonna do with the money? What is we gonna do timing wise? How much is the property gonna be worth if I try to sell it now? And then what are gonna be the tax implications once I sell and I receive a profit from the property?